All right, everybody, welcome back to another edition of 2024 Bourbon Banter Evans. Justin, what are we in for today?
Hey, this is one of those interesting views on a certain topic that so many people talk about, especially in our little sphere of influence as far as drinking bourbon goes, and outside of that sphere as well, is what we call the drink down video. It is, when do you have enough? When is enough to where you call it and say it's time to drink down what I've got before I spend any more money on the next bottle.
Yep, chasing bottles or whatever else, just keep collecting, and they're like, okay.
And so it's like, okay, this is my year. This is my year to drink down. And if somebody calls me and says, yes, it's time to go buy a big bottle, fine, I'll buy that. Yep. But I'm not going to buy this, this, and this, and this to get noticed to get this. Or I'm not going to do this package because I've already got 5 of these. And we've mentioned this in a couple of videos past about different. So we're going to dive in a little bit deeper. We've got 4 bottles here on the table as an example of things that you can get, not necessarily super rare, not necessarily easy to get, but it just depends. One of those is normal price, one of them is expensive, and one of them can be both.
Right.
And so then we've got our our standard go-to, also known as our control.
Control. Yep.
And so we're kind of running low on the control. We might want to get
we're gonna have to go dip into the stash.
Yeah. So that being said, there are 2 guys in the background, so feel free to chime in as always if you have any interjections, questions, comments, or concerns to get on this topic, because both of the people in the room with us have more than just 2 bottles.
Yes. And if you've done this before, if you've decided, hey, look, I'm tired of collecting or whatnot, tell us in the comments, like and subscribe. And then Justin, I got one question for you. Are you wearing bourbon socks?
I am definitely wearing bourbon socks. It was everything I could do to put these bourbon socks on, but to verify,
yep,
I am wearing bourbon socks. And now I am sporting Masters for the next couple of videos due to it is that time and that season in our area.
Yes,
and so it's hard not to feel the golf vibe and suck in all the pollen that we've been breathing for the last 2 weeks. Thankfully, the thunderstorms came through. That being said, I'm feeling parched for the pollen. Shall we grab a glass?
I think we should.
Pour it up. And thank you guys for joining in. What is in your glass as always?
Which one are we going to start with first?
You know what? I don't know if you guys can see it in the background, but this was new to us. I say we go after this Chicken Cock small batch, which is a 5-year and is the 100 proof. So I'm pretty stoked to try it due to those 2 new things, 5-year small batch, and it being the 100 proof, which is higher for them. This was a bottle that we found in South Carolina, not too far from where we are. I sent it to the reps to see if it's going to hit our area. I'm thinking it is. And I'm a pretty big fan of some of their expressions that they do, not necessarily the regular, not saying there's anything wrong with the regular. I like it just fine. It's kind of higher end. This, I want to say, was in the $60 price point in a different state. So that is not part of Bourbon Banter Evans, but we will talk about bottles coming from other areas. So if you're good with that, let's start with this one.
Go for it.
And then as you pour it, Charles, I'm going to bring up something else that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so we were talking about real quick, drinking down or whatnot. See, last year was my drink down year. I've already gone through this. I think all of us probably here have done that, where I was like, okay, I've got way too many. It's time for me to start drinking some of these down.
And it's funny that you mentioned that last year was your year. 2018 was a very memorable drink down year for me. And it was to the point where I had a number in my mind that I was like, I'm not going to have more than this in my little facility, aka my storage shelf, which was much smaller than it is now, and I've changed it, which I've already decided to clutter that up. So 2018, I got down to my number that I was after. I was finally happy, and I said, okay, now it's time to buy back to what I was wanting and or after and or wanting to drink and open. And now I would probably say the number that I had in mind in 2018, I've got in just open bottles alone.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah, definitely.
So that being said, before we continue with the video, let me actually notify you guys. The Bourbon Banter Evans calendar will be live soon. I did not mean to make that loud of a noise. If that looks okay on camera, I hope it does. If not, I'll try to come back here where our faces are. So that's the beginning of it. Now, what's interesting is this is the first run of it. Ended up doing really well. Yeah. Only a couple of them ended up being fuzzy, so I'm going to do the best I can flipping. And so, obviously, our calendar, what we talked about, starts in May.
Yes, it does. Why is that?
Oh, just a little major congressional thing happened in 1964 and made it a distinctive product of the U.S. only.
Exactly.
So our fiscal is May. So Bourbon Banter Evans calendar, we will let you know how to get one if you're interested in. Reach out to us. These are really cool, especially if you want bourbon events. And we added several historical bourbon events in there. Let's go. Actually, look at the photos. So that one ended up being perfect.
Yeah.
And so that's actually inside the rick house of one that we were actually at. And then there's also a picture that was taken of a barrel with the glass on top that turned out really good for National Bourbon Day in June. Flipping through a couple of the other ones, we've got Bower Hill, the Whiskey Point, a couple of the other ones. How can you forget birthday bourbon? So we've got George Garvin Brown to highlight him for the calendar month, and of course his birthday for the release of birthday bourbon, which we all know when that is. And there's other things that are in there too. So it's not just about, hey, it's Christmas or hey, it's this. It's the bourbon calendar. So it's gonna again, like we said before, we're going to highlight certain things, and then if you have a date coming up that you're going to a bourbon event or a bourbon tasting, write it on there. Now you have you can almost call it the man's calendar, but everybody drinks bourbon, so it's the bourbon banter.
There's plenty
Evans calendar.
Exactly. There's plenty of women that we know that love bourbon.
Yeah.
Too,
so Elijah Craig had to make it on there because he's kind of historical, and so that's one that ended up being a little fuzzy as far as when we did it.
But
and
not
of course,
bad at all.
But not this one. Prohibition ends at last.
Yes.
I don't know why that one made the calendar. And now this one is the very first run, so obviously there's other ones that we've got coming in, and if we tweaked it, I kind of screwed up on the reading. And this one's a big one though.
That one's cool.
So how about a little Taylor and the original beam?
Yep.
And so that's kind of big as well. So other ones also, but just wanted to mention that, and I'll try to go back to the beginning to show it one more time, which I'm fumbling through.
Yeah, but honestly, if you're interested or whatnot, hit us up in the comments. Let us know what you think. I'm glad this is out. I'm very excited about it. So let us know. All right.
So the drink down. So cheers to you guys.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining in. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And any comments, questions, concerns, and did you have a drink down here?
Yeah.
And what did you drink down?
Yeah, and then, I mean, if you remember the bottles, I don't remember the number or whatnot. I just knew, kind of like what Justin said, there was a number in my head I wanted to get down because I had way too much. And by that, I mean my wife told me I had too many. So it was time for me to drink them down. No, I'm just joking. I actually knew that I needed to drink some down. And so it took about, I think for my drink down, it was about close to 8 months, 8 or 9 months.
Most of the time when I've talked to, I'd say there's at least a handful of people that I've discussed a drink down year with, is it's literally a year's worth. And it gets to the point where they consider it more manageable and time to, okay, I've had my consumption, my consuming, or my trading, or I'll give this to friends that they like it. Now it's time for me to go back out and start shopping again. Yep. And some people call it hunting, but to me that's in the woods. Right. And there's not too many bourbons that I found walking in the woods that I shot. And if I did shoot a bourbon walking in the woods, it'd probably explode. Yeah. So for that matter, I call it shopping. That is true. Yeah, and that's just an interesting take on it. But so is the drink down here. This is it's not really controversial. It's just another adjective to what people do that I've heard talk about several times. And I know one person that's a friend of everybody in this room right now that's in a drink down year. Now they didn't label it that, but they labeled it as a no shopping unless somebody calls me for a specific air quotations bigger bottle if they want to call it that. So if it's of the higher sought after, we might as well call it, higher allocations. And also, I'd be curious, is there a time when somebody that's watching the video has decided, you know what, I'm not going to have a drink down. I just keep collecting or keep adding, and I just drink the ones that I want to as I want to. I mean, I can see that happening too. Yeah, there's plenty of people that say there's no such thing as a drink down. It's just a consuming as I see fit. And if I want to consume more, then I get more. Yeah. And then also, I would price and quality be a deciding factor in this also. It really would be. And so that I'm glad you brought up, because if you think of it, at what point, or is there a point that you've gotten to or haven't gotten to yet, that it's not just chasing the next 5-year chicken cock 100 proof? Is it worth spending the $60 on it? Or do I just go after my drinkers? You can get 2 bottles of 1792, 2 bottles of Buffalo Trace, 2 bottles of Elijah Craig. Insert your drinking brand here. Right. 2 bottles of whatever you know is quality versus that brand new price point that comes in. And speaking about that, you tried it yet? I did. I just took the first sip. It's not bad. No, I'm kind of I'm digging this over the standard because I think the 100 proof does a little bit better than the 90. I'm getting on this. I'm getting a lot of that drying on my tongue. Are you getting that? It really on the back. I can kind of see that. It's got more depth to it than I was expecting from a 5-year. I can tell you that. Yeah. It's not lighting me up though. Yeah, it's not. It's good. Yeah. That's not bad at all. So, I mean, I would still put this in the drinker class as far as that goes. And then anything else, I would say they've got the higher end ones that obviously, we've talked about in the past, the double oaked and then the 14-year cash strength. But is this the brand that is the quality isn't there for the price? So I'm going to go back and say, you know what? I'm done with my, it's time for my drink down, and I've already gone through my certain ones and spending money on. I'm just not going to spend $60 again. If I want something to drink on, my drink down here is $25 and I'm happy with it. Yep. At what point and when have you either noticed, or do you think personally that you've given up on the next $50 or $60 brand and said, hey, these $20 to $30 ones that have been around since the 17 and 1800s are still winning. Yeah. We can't compete anymore at $50 and $60 So I'm going to stick to what is a good drinker, what makes me happy. And then if I get lucky enough along the way to get something that's above that level, so be it. Or is it always the chase? Is it always the hunt?
Yeah. Is it the hunt? Is it the thrill? I like this. Is it the thrill of the chase?
Yeah, the thrill of the chase. That makes sense. And so these are all different dynamics to the drink down year. And that we've got these bottles up here on purpose just because of, like I said, we started with availability and price point, so on and so forth. And I'm not going to say that these are everyday drinkers, but in somebody's neck of the world, it probably is.
Yep.
Depending on what market they're in and where they're at. Who's to say that it isn't?
Right. I mean, and with one of these, it's even in a drink down year, I had an opportunity on this one, I usually pulled the trigger.
Yeah, especially if it's one of your favorites.
Yes.
So another good point, if you're in a drink down year and you're saying, I'm not shopping unless it's this, and then they call you up and say, hey, we have a Taylor small batch. Dang it, that's one of my favorites, and I've got 2. Okay, I'll take the third one.
Exactly.
And then if you're like I am, even if you're in a drink down year, if somebody calls you up after the next Taylor and it's like, wait a minute, what's the laser code on this one? Is it the next batch, next year release? And so we've all tried in this room, I think, the L24, and L24 is lights out.
Yeah.
I think it's the best one since L21, hands down.
And it's go back into our other videos, look at the laser code one. That's a good one to watch.
Yeah, and I think somebody in the background here is in a drink down year. So I think he's specifically trying to thin out some of his inventory, if you want to call it that, in the middle of trying to get a couple other ones if he gets his name called. But in the meantime, there's nothing wrong with, hey, this is, if you want to call it in the retail world or the distributor, it's aged inventory. Mm-hmm. I've had it on the shelf for several years now. It's time to stop looking at it, time to consume it. So Daniel, in the background, would you consider this your drink down year?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a really loud yeah.
No, and I think
as enthusiastic as that was,
I think majority of the people that I know that have been doing this for a while have had these years, just like we've mentioned before.
Yeah.
And it's funny. They don't seem to coincide. I don't remember somebody doing it at the same time I was. Or you, or anybody else. So it just coincides. It's all about personal preference.
Yes. And one person, I will say, that they had decided that they are happy with 3 brands. And I won't name those brands, but they were happy with those 3 brands at those price points. One was a good price point, one was a middle price point, and one was expensive, but not as high as some that it can be. And they said, if they roll out one of these, I'll get that. But I am done and doing a drink down. The most prolonged and longest drink down I've ever seen in my life. Never went back.
Never went back?
Never went back.
Yep.
It's been years now. But if one of those 3 comes out, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so...
knocked it down to their price point, what they really enjoy, and just said, hey, this is what I like.
Yeah. And so not that the thrill is gone, but maybe exhausted the resources and let's spend my time somewhere else.
Yep, exactly.
And so there's nothing wrong with that either. Completely respectable. And again, that was the price versus quality thing. Yeah. It was just getting to the next $50 bottle then, which now it seems like, I don't know, Alan, what do you think? The next, when I was complaining about the next $50 bottle in 2014 is probably what now, a $75 bottle?
70 to 80.
At least, yeah. I mean, how many brands do you see now coming out that are 100 to start with?
Not many.
But they're
starting to.
They're getting closer to it, but I would say there's plenty that are hitting that 70, 75, 60. Yeah, I definitely see that.
But then that's where you come down to. This is what we do. We like to try those, and we love it when people allow us to try them and everything, try them on videos. And then we kind of sit there and say, hey, just like we said before, you can get 2 other bottles for the price of this one.
Yeah.
Is it worth it or not?
Yeah.
That's all personal preference.
After the 3rd sip, I'm going to say it's worth it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Everybody knows I'm a chicken cock fan, and I know a lot of the lineage and the history behind it, whatever. That doesn't matter at this point because I guarantee you the 1800s had nothing to do with what's produced in 2020.
No.
That's not true. There's some lineage there. Anyhow, that being said,
I'm impressed.
I will repeat that one. I didn't say I'd repeat the regular one, but I will repeat this one. This one I do like a lot. And completely good with that one.
Would we want to possibly give that a stave?
I would definitely give this one a stave rating. I'm 100% in on the stave rating on this one. But before I do the stave rating, is it okay if I finish this?
No, not allowed.
Okay.
Yes.
Cheers. Thank you guys. What's in your glass?
Like and subscribe down below. Please tell us what you think. Love the comments in the videos. We try to answer anything that you put in there. And also, not only for the comments of this video, let us know if you're interested in the calendar over there, either in this video or the calendar video.
Yeah, posted it on Facebook to let you guys know the video will be coming up soon. And just so you know, it's not just what's in your glass, but also if you want to join us, and don't forget or be in the background. So, Alan, what is in your glass?
This is Black Ridge.
So Black Ridge. So not only do we ask that, we really do encourage in the background to enjoy a pour while doing this and or while watching. It seems to go along a lot better. So Charles, I'll put you on the spot first.
All right,
what is your BBE stave rating? Let me write this one down.
The charge stave rating on this one.
Charge stave, chard level stave rating.
All right, on this one, I'm gonna have to probably go. It's good. I don't know how far above 2 I want to go, but I'm saying about 2.5 for me on this.
Okay, I can see that. So
for me, it's good. It's definitely, I think at the price point, I would definitely pay for it. I think there are some $60 bottles that are better, but this is not bad for what it is.
So being a chicken cock fan,
yes,
I'm gonna surpass you by just a hair. And as soon as you started saying that, I was like, this is a 3 in my head.
Okay.
And so I'm giving this the level 3 char. That is my rating on this one. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of the homage to the decanter that they did for Chicken Cock, the old brand.
Yeah.
And that was a good repeat if you go back to some of the lineage of the way the glass was shaped and so on and so forth. And then look into their higher end ones that have the metal caps, which I've got one sitting over here from the double oaked. That was, it's your own shot glass. And then, so if you look up the old school stuff, bringing back the old brand and some of the history behind it, not that makes the juice taste better or get a higher stave, but the glass, I mentioned that before, it is more appealing for the shopper. But the liquid itself, I think it's a solid 3 on my char level as far as the rating goes. So I think it's a go out and get it and try it.
I think so too. But what you're talking about the glass, everybody sees the glass first. It catches your eye. And you're like, oh, okay. And so, I mean, it's to me, it has to be part of your rating.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, so I say the next pour, let's go stick with the hundreds.
All right.
You good with that?
I'm good with that.
And we shall move on. So, again, cheers to you guys as we...
Yep, like and subscribe. But no, I do like the bottle. I love all the little, what are those, octagons or whatever on there? Maybe? I don't know. Nope, they're
pentagons.
not. Yep, are they pentagons? Yeah, they are. Something. I don't know.
Hexagons?
I think they're hexagons. As you can tell, we don't know our shapes very well. No, like and subscribe, uncut, unfiltered.
I don't know anybody subscribed for the shapes. Stop trying to put the chicken cut cork on there.
They're similar.
There.
All right, some Taylor small batch, and for this one of the ones that we really like, it's an L21. So
for those of you that haven't tuned in quite some while or missed out on the L21 versus video, this is laser codes is what we're referring to, and L is the timing as far as the production, 21 is the year. That's the main part.
Right.
And so if you go back far enough in dot matrix and laser codes, there's a B and then some other, but anyhow, these are L's now. That's what they do as far as that goes. So back to the drink down. Now we're on to a product that is somewhat available, not all the time. We've already said that we would say yes if we had 2 or 3. Now, would we say yes if we had 2 or 3 and they were above similar to the MSRP price point?
Yes, I would.
In your drink down year?
Yep.
If it was an L21, I'm in it above the MSRP point.
Yeah, for me personally, this is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
If I can find this, I don't care if it's an L21, if it's an L2050 next, in whatever 25 years from now, or 26 years from now, that's what I'm going to grab. I love it. It's just one of my favorites. So, if it's a drink down year and I have the ability to get one, I'm probably going to grab it.
Okay, so we all know this, and this is no secret, nothing to hide here. 1792 is my go-to small batch.
Yes.
It always has been, and that hasn't changed, and that probably never will. And when I was in my drink down year, I made sure to make sure that I always had 1792 on hand. And so if there was a release that 1792 did during that time, and this was 2018, I never missed. Didn't matter what it was. If it was the bottle and bond, if it was the full proof, I was making sure because I was a huge 1792 fan. So I could see Taylor being the same way if you're a big Taylor fan, that you're not going to miss any release if you get the opportunity to get that, even if you are thinning your inventory and cutting way back. But
go ahead.
No, by all means.
No, I was just going to say, also in our market, it's available, but it's not that readily available. So if you happen to come across one, it's kind of one of those where I feel as though, for me, it's one of those, okay, if I come across one, I really want to pick it up.
Yeah.
And I can see that. About availability, too.
And keep in mind, this is a very subjective as far as a topic goes, this is almost like a discussion.
It is.
More than it is just
It's a banter.
anything other than this. It is literally a banter. This is what it is. It's talking about the way people are interacting around in our community. And what started this idea was talking to several people that were in the bourbon community, and we're discussing that, you know what, I'm done.
Yep.
And I think for some of them, I'm not going to say all of them, but some of them, they were kind of tired of the $50 or $60 entry to get into the new brand, knowing that they could just drink what they already bought, or at that same, like I was trying to portray, whether it came off as that, I can go get my 1792 small batch for $30 or less every time I want it.
You know, the consistency and everything else like that. You're kind of playing craps if you decide, okay, here's a new bottle, it's $50-$60. I don't know if I'm going to like it, but let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
And so there's almost like two different ways to look at that. It's either A, I've got a collection and I'm tired of buying more, it's time to drink down, then I'll buy more. Or B, I'm tired of trying what's new at this price point, so I'm not going to buy any more what's new. I'm just going to stick with what I know tastes good. So I've got no reason to have a collection. I'm just now wanting something that I like drinking on. And so that's the two main focuses that I see is if I'm a bourbon drinker, this conversation appeals to you. If you're a bourbon collector and you're doing other things with it other than probably consuming it, this is probably going to be an off-topic situation.
It could be, yeah. I mean, other than you know, it could be a little bit of both. You could be collecting certain ones, and you could have your drinkers that you always want to, and sprinkle in a little bit. Hey, this is new. Let me give it a try. But I've known people that have gotten burned, which I say burned, which is not really burned. They've just tried new stuff and haven't liked it at $50-$60 price point. Just like you're saying, okay, I can go get Buffalo Trace. Or in this area, I'm talking about this area, I can go get regular Buffalo Trace, which they enjoy very much, and it's easy. And you can buy a couple of bottles of that for one bottle of this.
Yeah, you really could.
Yeah.
And so I completely understand that. And again, same thing with Elijah Craig. Same thing with Larceny. Same thing with 1792. Yep. Same thing with insert another bourbon that's been around for a long time. Now, I'm not saying Larceny's been around for a long time, but Heaven Hill has. So insert Heaven Hill brand. Insert, you know, I guess you could say Old Charter or Benchmark at that point, because that's not your go-to BT1s as far as, for the most part, they're available. If you wanted to pick a brand from them, Old Forester's a great one.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Old Forester's been around a long time, hence why he made it in the calendar. 1870, first bottled brand.
And great stuff.
Actually, 1870 was something different, but it was the first bottled brand.
Right.
As far first bottled bourbon, you know, so what the claim is. And so that's pretty important. But so that's another question that I would have. In the drink down year, whether you're on the A or the B side, which we just mentioned, are you completely fine being a bourbon fanatic, fan, lover, hunter, connoisseur, collector of just picking one brand, and that's what you have to drink until that next phone call comes that says, hey, come get this bingo, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Or in what I normally say now is winner, bourbon dinner.
So are you like just strictly Buffalo Trace?
Yeah, I'm only going to drink Buffalo Trace.
Right.
Yeah. Or I'm only going to drink Old Forester. Or
Bardstown Bourbon Company.
Bourbon Company.
Yep.
Yeah, they're producing theirs all the time now.
Yep.
So, or do you just say, you know what? I'm just going to drink all kind of different weird things, and then once I hit a bottle that I can't store anymore and I'm running out of space, I'll stop.
Yep.
Drink down for a year and look at my space and fill it back up.
I think it's a good conversation. I think it's going to go, hopefully in the comments, it's going to go every which direction, because that's what we're expecting. Everybody's going to be different. All palates are different. Everybody's mentality is going to be different on how they think about this.
Everybody's storage levels different.
Exactly. Yeah. Some of us don't have an entire room, but I have a closet.
I have got a room that looks like it's throwing up, and I got it organized. So I'm not doing a drink down.
Not yet.
Not yet. I had mine in 2018, and so I'm, you know, like I said, I've got a lot of open bottles, but the whole idea behind that is to do as best we can is to portray taste, quality profile, things like that, char level ratings from us now, and you know, have a good time, have conversation that makes sense, have legitimate information, which that's going to be leading to another video, is actual bourbon videos.
Yep.
And nothing saying against them, nothing saying against us, but there is certain connotations and certain aspects received and or thought or entertainment, which we aren't here to entertain. We're here to just talk about it and be nerdy. So
We're here to have a good time, actually tell you what we think about a few bottles, maybe some bottles that you haven't been able to try that are available in your market that you can go out there and give it a try if you think that we know what we're talking about.
And if you don't, then I say open up a bottle of whatever, join in anyway, have a glass, and tell us in the comments that we're stupid and what you think of it.
No,
it's
it's
just for that. Yeah.
I think this one is going to be a great one. This video, because this is more of an open conversation.
It's really more like, this would have been really fun live also.
Yes, I think so.
And this is one of the open ones that will never actually close.
Right.
This is going to be done for now, but it will continue on because it literally is, there's so many different times that somebody decided to stop, have a drink down year, enjoy what they had, have a lot of people over, enjoy what they had, and then they came right back to it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, there's only one so far that I have known that had a stop and just enjoyed 3 brands, and then that was it. You know, so.
No, and really, the open conversation, let's have it in the comments too. Let's bring those comments out. And guess what? I'm hoping from those comments, maybe that's how we keep this conversation going.
Yeah, and we'll visit this again.
Yeah.
And so we keep notes as far as, you know, what we're going to keep on. So this one, I say we bring this one to an end.
Sounds good.
I mean, we'll finish off that last one. And obviously, we've had our control multiple times. Now, we're not going to do a comparison as far as ours versus the control because we've done that on these two.
Right.
I think we've done this in the background. We've never done this one, which is fine. But the control now is for if you want to join in and be in the background. If we know you, so on and so forth, or want to meet up and have something like that, even host it.
And
we haven't done that in a while because of, you know, timing.
Yeah.
We used to go, we've done this in several locations. Don't forget about that. Let us know. Get a shot to crack at the control. See what you think.
Yep. See what you think. Tell us what your guess is, and we won't tell you if you're right or wrong.
And I say one last reminder to end it. The Bourbon Banter Evans calendar is going to be fully available shortly. There's one tweak left to make. Other than this, that's what it looks like. Yep.
Let us know in the comments here. Let us know on Facebook, or also let us know on the calendar video that we did, first one in 2024. And hit that like and subscribe button.
Cheers
Justin?
to you guys, and what's in your glass?